Couldn't hear myself anyway. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Schuster, and I am the East Lansing City Clerk. Before I officially call the meeting to order, I will administer the oaths of office to the three newly elected council members, Ron Bacon, George Brookover, and Dana Watson. Councilmember-elect Bacon, I invite you to the podium. And any family members you want to bring up? You can stand ready. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
And if you want to sign both of these.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember-elect Brookover, I invite you to the podium next.
This might be a little bit like a senility test at the doctor I just went to.
All right. All right. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me, I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East
the
Lansing,
Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
All right. And if you can just sign.
Thank you.
And you can take your seat at the table now, too. Councilmember-elect Watson, I invite you to the podium next. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of council member
the duties of council member
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The East Lansing City Council meeting of November 9, 2021 will now come to order. With that, I will start with the roll call. Councilmember Babcock? Present. Councilmember Bacon?
Present.
Councilmember Brookover?
Here.
Councilmember Gregg?
Here.
Councilmember Watson?
Here.
Next, we will move on to the election of the mayor. Please note that nominations do not need to be seconded. At this time, are there any nominations for mayor?
I move and nominate Ron K. Bacon to be the next,
I think she had raised her hand.
He beat me to it, that's fine.
Okay.
to be the
All
next
right.
mayor of the city of East Lansing.
Okay. According to parliamentary procedure, I must ask for nominations 3 more times. Are there any other nominations for mayor? Are there any other nominations for mayor? Are there any other nominations for mayor? There are no further nominations for mayor. I declare the nominations are closed. Councilmember Brookover has nominated Councilmember Bacon for mayor. I will now conduct a roll call vote. When I call your name, you can indicate your preference by saying yes or no. Councilmember Babcock.
Yes.
Councilmember Bacon.
Yes.
Councilmember Brookover.
Yes.
Councilmember Gregg.
Yes.
Councilmember Watson.
Yes.
There are 5 votes for Councilmember Bacon. Councilmember Bacon is the City of East Lansing's new mayor. Okay, we'll do your oath of office for mayor. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me, would you like your wife to join you again for this?
Hold me up.
I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of mayor
the duties of mayor
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. The gavel and the script for the election of Mayor Pro Tem, and I'll do the roll call vote after you get the nominations.
This is a lot to ask after that, so bear with me. Next up, election or nominations for the Mayor Pro Tem. Are there any nominations for Mayor Pro Tem?
I move and nominate Dana Watson.
I move to nominate Jesse Gregg.
Are there any further nominations for Mayor Pro Tem?
You can just call one more time.
Okay. Are there any further nominations for Mayor Pro Tem?
So we have more than one nomination, so I will now conduct a roll call vote. When I call your name, please state your preference for Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Babcock?
Greg.
Councilmember Bacon, or Mayor Bacon.
Greg.
Councilmember Brookover.
Watson.
Councilmember Gregg.
Greg.
And Councilmember Watson.
Greg.
All right, so there are 4 votes for Councilmember Gregg. Councilmember Gregg is the City of East Lansing's new Mayor Pro Tem. If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of this state,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
the Charter and the Code of the City of East Lansing,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Mayor Pro Tem
the duties of Mayor Pro Tem
of the City of East Lansing
of the City of East Lansing
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
To be called to order. Are we in order now?
I think we don't have to reconvene or.
No, you're in session.
In session. Ready to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. Before I ask for 1.4 approval of the agenda, I would request a point of privilege to speak at this point if I can. First of all, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Therese, family and friends, the kids, Sasha, Joel, Veronica, for always being supportive of me and allowing me to chase the dreams and serve the community. I'd also like to congratulate councilpersons Dana Watson and George Brookover on their successful campaigns. And I really want to acknowledge the other members who tossed their hats into the campaigning world. It was not easy. Chuck Grisby, Adam DeLay, Dan Bowman, and Mike Emanuel, and just ask that you will continue in the roles as you serve right now and continue to seek higher office. And many of you know I support many of you in different ways and will continue to. If you seek higher office, I will be there to support you. Running for elected office in this current political climate takes a great deal of courage and willingness to undergo extreme public scrutiny, really 24/7 now. Kudos to your efforts, and please continue seeking higher office. I am honored to serve the residents of East Lansing and humbled to support this community. Thank you for showing your support for my candidacy. Thank you to everyone who gave donations, put up yard signs, and opened doors to talk with me. For those who filled out the bubbles on Election Day, voting wasn't always an act of courage, but in some ways now voting is an act of courage. And I thank you for filling out that bubble for me. I'm committed to serving all of East Lansing, those who honored me with their votes, and those who are seeking confidence in me earning their confidence through my actions. The significance of my election and now promotion to mayor of East Lansing is not lost on me. Being the first black male to serve in this capacity is, at this point, overwhelming. I stand on the shoulders of people like Thelma Evans, the first black person to serve on East Lansing City Council, who was appointed to serve. I stand on the shoulders of Dr. Robert L. Green, who helped to open this community and access to it for people of color. I stand on the shoulders of Dr. and Mrs. Purnell, who came to East Lansing as young professionals from Alabama after participating in the Montgomery bus boycotts and became part of the fabric of this community. And most of all, I stand on the shoulders of my parents, who paved the way as servants in Jackson, Michigan, and also served in many firsts in our community at that time, and I stand on their shoulders. East Lansing, as a community, has marked significant national milestones, being one of the first cities with legislation protecting LGBTQ persons, among the first cities in the nation to acknowledge MLK Day as a holiday, recently taking more bold steps forward in establishing independent police oversight, and being a community committed to DE&I. Along with this, I think we have sought to reset and renew our creed of equal access, protection, and participation for everyone who calls East Lansing home. I am hopeful for the future that we can finish the business that we started, working with staff to build a safer, stronger, and more inclusive neighborhoods, to continue to reimagine our downtown, to continue revitalizing the business community, working together for a brighter future in conjunction with MSU and our other regional partners. And in closing, I'm just a steward of this time in history for those younger than me and those who will seek access and roles in government and in participating in our civic engagement. And I hope I serve as that embodiment and encouragement, and I'll do my best to honor this role and continue to make a way where others can step through this door. So I thank you all for the support, the votes, the well wishes, and the love along the way. And I'm going to dedicate this to my father. I lost him on September 22nd, mid-campaign. And he would definitely be here today to celebrate this. So thank you all. Next up, can I hear a motion to approve the agenda unless
So moved.
anyone? Can I hear a second? All right. Motion to approve the agenda by Councilperson Brookover, seconded by Councilperson Watson. Motion carries. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes? Oh, sorry. Give me a second. Pull it together.
You'll get there.
Yeah. All right.
You have to call all.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same. Motion carries to approve the agenda. Item 1.5, approval of the minutes.
I'll move approval.
I hear a second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion to approve the minutes carries. On to written communication. All written communication received by council are posted online on the online agenda packet. Do we have any written communication? Good from there. Last but not least, to next, communication from the audience. If you want to communicate from the audience, please fill out the blue comment card over there and turn it in. But if you have any communication for the audience.
We have 3 callers online for virtual communication.
All right. Just a reminder, in accordance with our rules, we'll maintain all comments to 5 minutes. We'll take the first caller online at this time.
Ann Brown, you are now permitted to address council.
I'm sorry, I didn't have any comment other than congratulations. Thank you.
Maddie Sadler, you are now permitted to address council. Maddie Sadler, you're now permitted to address council. You may need to press *6. Okay, Maddie left the meeting, so the last caller we have on the line is Paige McCallum. You are now permitted to address council. And Paige also left the meeting, so that's all the callers we have on the line.
All right. If there's no further communication for the audience, we'll move on to communication from mayor and council members. Can I start with Councilperson Watson?
I don't have a lot to say today. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to serve for 4 years. And I wanted to let my kids know you're free to go if you want to. And I turned back on the internet.
Thanks for sharing your mom with us.
Are you all set, Councilperson?
Yes, thank you.
Councilperson Babcock?
Thank you. I would ask that people read Councilmember Gregg's letter to the university that is posted in this week's Councilmember comments. She encapsulates a lot of what much of East Lansing was feeling in the aftermath of the MSU U of M game. I remember getting emails as a student at MSU, a law student in my 40s, and thinking, this is not the definition of celebration. This is really not acceptable conduct, and I would like to say that Chief Johnson may take particular note of this. People like me should rightfully self-select ourselves out of the police forces because I would have tased every one of those little devils, and I commend ELPD for its restraint. It's an embarrassment, and it's not a celebration. I don't know what we do to change the culture. I thank Councilmember Gregg for raising that because even if it happens every 5 years, that's too often. And that reflects on every one of us. We live in this community, we hold degrees, and with these younger folks, you know, they're more than happy to have their pictures out there, but back in my day, we had this thing called Google where you could match the pictures, so I have a hunch this is not going to end well for some of them either. Other than that, I'm honored to serve with our new members, and I'm looking forward to it. One point of housekeeping. Little known fact, my cousin was the sort of public face of the Lansing Fire Department, Steve Babcock, and he always reminded us, spring forward, fall back. So when you change your clocks, or if like in our house you haven't changed them all yet, this is the perfect time to check the batteries in your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Spring forward, fall back. Spring for the extra $5, change the batteries, guarantee safety. We love our fire department, but they don't need to see you anytime soon. Thank you.
Councilperson Brookover?
Nothing, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Gregg?
Thanks. I don't want to let this moment pass without thanking the community for the support that they showed me while I was filling in as mayor over these last 3 months. It was a very eventful 3 months. Some of it was delightful and some of it was not delightful. We started with floods and we ended with fires, but I'm not taking responsibility for either one of those things. I also wanted to thank our community for reelecting our 2 appointed council members and kind of affirming the faith in our appointees. And I'm very excited to be working with Mr. Bacon and Ms. Watson again, and welcome to the team, Mr. Brookover.
And last but not least, just thank you, and I think I've said this quite a bit via campaigning and via talking with people. Just please continue to participate in our boards and commissions and engage in involving with us. And I guess per Councilperson Gregg, Mayor Pro Tem Gregg, I'm hoping there's no locusts that are next after the floods and fires, but I will do my best to serve I'll be a listening ear, and I'm looking forward to working with everyone on moving the agenda of East Lansing forward. All right. Next up on the agenda. He passed. Yeah, Rich passed. Communications from city manager.
Just a couple of quick items. One is to mention to the community and to offer thanks for Steve Gonzalez. Steve Gonzalez is our deputy chief. He served the city for about 24 years, starting in the role of police officer, working his way all the way up to deputy chief, served as interim chief for 7 months. Unfortunately for us, but to the benefit of the Capital Region Airport, Steve is going to be moving on to be the public safety chief for the Capital Region Airport effective next week. I want to thank him for his considerable service to the city of East Lansing. His expertise, his dedication, and professionalism will be missed, but we obviously wish him well in his future endeavors, and the region gets to benefit from his considerable expertise. So thank you to formerly Deputy Chief Gonzalez, but a potentially future chief for Capital Region, Steve Gonzalez. Thank you, Steve. And then I also, of course, want to thank and congratulate all the council members. It's obviously a historical day with the appointment of Mayor Bacon, but for the re-election of Councilmember Watson, for the election of Mayor Bacon, and also Councilmember Brookover, congratulations on your service. I also want to thank former Mayor Gregg for serving as mayor. It is a lot of work, and it was an especially difficult time over the past several months with a number of critical incidents, and she devoted a lot of time and effort to that task, and I certainly appreciate working with her during that period. So thank you for your service, and of course you're continuing to serve in your capacity as Mayor Pro Tem. But I also appreciate the opportunity to work with all the council members and serve this council as we continue to move the city of East Lansing forward in terms of sustainability, environmental sustainability, financial sustainability, and of course all of our core services that our residents expect and enjoy. So thank you for the opportunity to serve, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you over the coming 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. It appears we have no city attorney's report, so we'll move on to item 3.1, discussion.
She's remote.
Oh, she's here.
Yeah, she's zooming in.
Hi.
City
Good
attorney's
evening.
report.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. I will keep my report brief. Congratulations, of course, to those elected and re-elected. I wanted to update council on a lawsuit that I reported on previously, which is Nichols versus the city of East Lansing, which is a FOIA lawsuit. We have filed a motion for summary disposition and on behalf of the city, and that will be heard on December 8th, 2021 via Zoom. So I wanted to provide that update. I reported last time that deadline was coming up, so we have filed that motion and we'll continue to keep the city updated on the progress of that.
Thank you. On to the business agenda, item 3.1. Discussion of boards and commissions.
Like quickly?
Yep.
So this is here really as a preliminary discussion. It's going to be on the work session for next week for further discussion by council, but the idea was just to give you all the paper showing you what is available and past seats that were filled by council members. And then, of course, you all can decide what process you will to wipe the slate clean, to refill as you will. But just as a preliminary discussion, the paper is here for you to look at. And then planning to have a full discussion next week if council chooses on the Tuesday at the work session to work out the final arrangement. So that's all, unless you have questions for me.
Let me just say, in the hopes of moving this ahead next week as quickly as possible, I'm perfectly happy to take whatever anybody else doesn't want. So if that helps any of you, please consider that in your thinking.
Can I, just a question? I was looking at Councilmember Babcock. Do you remember how we did this 2 years ago? I think we kind of ranked our choices and slipped them to the mayor, maybe?
We did. We ranked our choices from first to eternity and then worked them out.
Okay.
So how the mayor chooses to proceed is his.
Yeah, we can do that again, and particularly any assignments that are, written into code for, that have to belong to the mayor, we'll do those kind of, switch those around. I can work with Jesse to do that portion of it, and then I know there's particular interest. I've already talked to some of you on some of the boards and commissions particularly, and as we launch Police Oversight Commission, I know myself and Councilperson Watson were both interested, and we may co-chair that, particularly as we're seeing that it's going to be an immensely heavy lift to develop a new commission. So that was something we're discussing, and I think that's likely, unless other people can. But what I'll do is send me your top choices via email. I'd say, let's keep it time bound. Let's do it by Friday if there's anything like that, and then even for yourself, Councilperson Brookover, if there's top choices, please include them. I don't want to dump you with all the.
I've been dumped on before.
So yeah, let's just try to do that quickly. At least we can have them in hand, and if there's any discussion around any particular boards or commissions or passions, or if you have any particular projects that are already well too far in motion, potentially to hand off, that could be a consideration as well. Just include that in your communication.
Can I make one
First,
comment?
Councilperson Watson.
Okay, so I see for parking task force that there's a backup listed. Is it obvious where certain commissions have two people that are serving, co-people?
If I may, so sometimes council has had it where there's been a preference for multiple council members to have strong interest, like Mayor mentioned regarding police oversight, and I think that really has been a decision for council. So there's been a primary person, and then someone else has been kind of the backup. But I do not know if there's actually any, and maybe I can look to Mr. Fehrenbach to see if there's any actual second position with Parking Task Force, or it really is just a preference of council to have two people.
No, you explained it exactly right. Sometimes if there's multiple people interested, then the council may decide to have a backup just because there's other people that also have an interest in serving.
All right, and is the specific a backup, or it's a co, or is it up to us? Okay, all right.
Mayor Pro Tem Gregg.
That was essentially my question was, would it make sense to kind of designate a backup on some of our larger, heavier commissions? Planning Commission doesn't do much. They're very self-sufficient, and I mostly just watch remotely, so it's a big commission, but it's not actually that heavy. But like DDA, definitely. But DDA is one of the ones that that's got a charter commitment of the mayor, right? So I don't know. There's ones that have a lot of work for sure, and then ones that are pretty self-running.
And I assume DDA with the mayor having voting privilege. Has to be the mayor.
Yeah.
Which other ones are designated for the mayor?
Council of Neighborhood Presidents is the mayor it's been the mayor's meeting by tradition, I guess, and then the DDA, and which is also the Brownfield. The Brownfield is the same membership as the DDA, and I'll look to staff to see if anyone can remind me of any others, that the DMV as well for the mayor.
I have a list right here if you want me to read them out.
Okay, go ahead and read them out. So these are mayor appointments, right? Or the
And
mayor.
correct me if I'm wrong, but Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, Downtown Development Authority, the EL Meridian Authority is a quarterly meeting, and that's the mayor and mayor pro tem. The East Lansing Public Schools Intergovernmental Committee meeting is mayor, and they typically bring a council member. Then we have the LEAP meetings. Lansing Economic Area Partnership is typically the mayor. MSU Administration is typically mayor and mayor pro tem. And then Council of Neighborhood Presidents, which has historically just been the mayor, but in the last year or so, it's been mayor and then one of the council members. And I believe DDA, Business and Market Development Committee, is that also mayor? Typically, so that's it.
And I would also note that some of those are actually just by tradition and preference of the council. So if someone can't make a meeting, it was not the MSU meeting, the quarterly with Meridian, there isn't a requirement, but the DDA was one of the ones, and the Brownfield where it was required by the act that the mayor as the chief executive participate in the DDA.
So if I could just clarify, these are all publicly noticed meetings, correct?
They are not. Most of those are, but some of them are not, like the MSU meeting is not
Well,
publicly noticed
With the
meeting.
exception of MSU, so the other meetings are relatively well-known in the community, and I assume that other council members can show up as long as there aren't 3 of us there, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So I work 8 to 5 typically, and I've been interested in figuring out how I can be a part of the business community more. And so that was why I was asking some of my questions, because the last time when we discussed commissions, come to find out a lot of the ones that I had picked geared towards businesses were designated for the mayor. But also, parking task force in particular comes to mind. It's helpful if we can get solid dates on when the meetings are so that I can schedule myself appropriately, or so that whoever can schedule themselves appropriately during the day. So I hope that if it's not too much of a hardship, that the meetings we can know when the meetings are happening.
Typically, I would say the parking task force is one of the few that's not as consistent, but DDA, DMB, I mean, most of the ones are consistent by the dates listed. Am I correct in that, Mr. Fehrenbach?
Yeah, so can we get parking task force consistent?
I'm not sure of the membership of that. Can you jump up, can you give us a thought on that one? Is it primarily business community members?
Sure. It's primarily made up of representatives from the DDA, DMB, business community, and then a lot of staff also attend as well. And I believe there's a neighborhood rep right now that I think is vacant. But it's actually tomorrow morning, so I can bring that up and see if they're interested in setting their agenda. Typically, we tend to have meetings around the budget process, so usually February and then March. And then it just kind of depends in terms of the flow of what's happening and where there's things like the parking master planning process or big, investments in capital that need to be vetted through the community. But certainly, I think the intent is to meet quarterly, and I just think it's been sort of an anomalous last several years, actually ever since I've been here. So, but we can certainly bring that up tomorrow to the task force, and hopefully things are normalizing a little bit. So,
Thank you.
Do you anticipate being more regular based on us kind of coming back to business as usual?
I certainly would hope so.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question of staff? I guess I'm looking at Emily because I think this would fall to you. But most commissions publish their proposed dates towards the end of the calendar year. Would it be possible to compile that into kind of a packet of commission meetings to have to refer to for the next meeting? Or is that not as straightforward as I think it is?
I think that the list typically says, and we typically stick to it, like Human Relations Commission is the Wednesday. I'm getting feedback. Is that my fault? So I think it's the Wednesday. Is it the first Wednesday or second Wednesday? So they're typically going to be consistent.
Yeah.
The night meetings of most boards and commissions are consistent and always fall in the same period of month. And then there may be times, and they typically meet every month for 12 months.
Right.
There may be times when they cancel meetings in the summer or something like that, but the typical expectation is monthly, and then they have a set calendar date. And we don't move those much because with
schedule other things
the schedules of other
yeah.
things, basically the nights are all full. So
Yeah.
there really is not that much flexibility in those dates
I
because
think-
it bumps something else.
Yeah, I think at least one of my commissions has kind of I think it's the art commission. I don't know if everybody does it. Everybody should do it. It's a good idea. Where we kind of line them up with holidays and other things, and if it's close, then it will kind of get adjusted just within that month. So I just wondered if
Sure.
we do have a published list of dates. I think that the typically on the third Thursday at 12 p.m. is pretty consistent, but.
A holiday
A schedule of meetings monthly.
Yes.
And so if that's something that you're not getting, I can definitely make sure that you're being.
No, I
forwarded
find that
those.
very helpful. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
wasn't missing anything.
No, that's just my eyebrows.
All right, any further comment? I don't think this requires a vote, correct?
Yeah, I actually had a question about vacancies.
Yes.
So how many applicants are in queue right now? Do we know how many applicants are in queue and how many have been moved somewhere? Whether it's, I don't know, we're full, we're not going to take you, or this vacancy, like where are we at with that?
So, I could get an exact number of who's in queue for every commission, but basically, once they apply to a commission, I send that information on to a staff liaison. And those staff liaisons, there's an automatic reply that comes to the applicant. Those staff liaisons have those applications on file. And so when there is a vacancy, the staff liaisons work with the council liaisons and the chair. So it depends on, I guess, the status of the commission, and then also how the council and staff liaison are working together to make sure that they're interviewed. So if there's a particular commission, I can definitely, get some numbers together for you, but there's definitely at least a couple in some of the commissions. Also, the list of vacancies that are listed on the agenda packet, some of those are not accurate because some of the different vacancies that are coming up, people might be getting reappointed for those commission seats, or things like that as well. So I know that there's some commissions, like Transportation Commission has 4 vacancies, and they definitely have some applications in there. And then just as they come in, they get sent to the staff liaisons and the council liaisons. So does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Any further comments from council?
I move we adjourn.
Oh, that's, really?
Good?
Okay. I did have one more remark to make.
Go.
And so previously to my council experience, I had different experiences with commissions and who interviewed me or who didn't. And so I had asked for some changes when I became a council person, and I'm interested in feedback on how that's gone or if that's blocked decision-making, if that's blocked the ability to fill open positions, because I'm really grateful when people apply for the commissions and they deserve to get attention, and they deserve, especially if there's vacancies, for that to be filled fairly quickly. And so if something needs to be relooked at, I just would like that feedback so that we can make sure this process is moving along smoothly. That's all. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. If no further comments, I'll receive a motion to adjourn.
Same motion.
I'm used to the mayor just adjourning. Are we changing?
We can adjourn.
Is it- okay.
Meeting adjourned.